Finally, Trayce Jackson-Davis is useful. He's now an actual, real, deserves to be starter on the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors have been looking for a center for a long time, but Trayce Jackson-Davis, with one of the lowest rim finishing rates in the entire NBA, has finally shown that he can finish and that he can play and that he should be starting. In today's film review, we're going to go over everything Trayce Jackson-Davis and why he was critical to the Warriors essentially winning this game against the Timberwolves, even with Steph Curry playing a lot of clutch minutes. It's one of the first plays of the game. Clearly, the Warriors are trying to set up a play for Jonathan Kuminga, and they're essentially going to try to actually create an opportunity for Dennis Schroeder and Andrew Wiggins. So right here, we pass it to Andrew Wiggins, and already the defense is in rotation because they decided to double Schroeder. And right here, Schroeder's met with two defenders. I think if Schroeder was more comfortable in the offense, maybe he would have kicked it out this way. But I think Schroeder is looking for Steph Curry, who has a man glued on him. But Trayce Jackson-Davis does the alert thing, drives towards the rim, and, we still have Rudy Gobert in the paint. Like, this is still not exactly an easy finish, but he does a nice little hook shot, gets deep into the rim, and actually uses his body, his size, to finish at the rim. And as soon as I saw this shot for this game, I knew this is going to be a good Trayce Jackson-Davis game. And another reason I knew it was a good Trayce Jackson-Davis game early is we have 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Trayce Jackson-Davis is on Rudy Gobert. Adeptly, he realizes Rudy Gobert is sinking back into the paint. And there's only 2 seconds left on the shot clock right here. What is Rudy Gobert really going to do from between the 3-point line and the paint? Nothing. So he immediately realized, okay, I'm going to have to go up and try and contest this shot against Randall. And he does a great job. He goes up, essentially gets a block on that shot, and is able to contest that. That alertness of understanding both the offensive and defensive end was a good precursor, I think, in this game to really looking at him later in the game when, obviously, right here, 84-84, game is tied. Podziemski's out there. Trayce Jackson-Davis is out there. We really need baskets. This is going to be a tough lineup sometimes to score with if Steph doesn't have the ball. Right here, we have Podziemski driving right here, and Trayce Jackson-Davis sets a great screen. And Rudy Gobert is kind of around the corner, but he sets a great screen on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, which allows for Podziemski to get a little bit of space by the free throw line extended, essentially. And so Rudy Gobert is always going to usually play a drop coverage. He even plays it against Steph sometimes, which is a guy you don't want to play drop coverage versus. But Podziemski's able to kind of get open, and he delivers a depth pass towards Jonathan Kuminga. Now, Kuminga is going to break down the defense. Right here, you see everyone's kind of scrambling right here. Julius Randle's kind of like, oh, shoot, I have to get back here. Rudy Gobert's like, okay, do I contest Jonathan Kuminga? What am I supposed to do? It's all a crazy mess. So right here, Rudy Gobert, I think, is trying to pass off the responsibilities for Trayce Jackson-Davis to somebody, maybe to Ant, maybe to some person that he expects to be there that isn't there. But essentially what happens here is Jonathan Kuminga does a great job of playmaking, and Trayce Jackson-Davis finished over somebody. That was the key to scoring this basket. And I think that's something he hasn't done since that awesome play he had versus Victor Wembanyama, which was incredible. And finally, he goes up there with aggression. He doesn't think too much. He just goes up and shoots the ball and dunks it in Rudy Gobert's face. And I think that's super important for him as a player. The Warriors' offense requires a lot of thinking, but him being utilized as a center and being able to finish is something that sometimes we just don't have. Draymond Green isn't the best finisher as well. And if he can finish at the rim, it really changes the dynamics for this Warriors offense. Right here, you're going to see TJD essentially set a screen really up high onto McDaniels, and Steph Curry's going to kind of go over like he normally does. You see Rudy Gobert's in this really high drop coverage, and this is really another example of Steph being Steph right here. But Trayce Jackson-Davis does a nice job of slipping the screen right here, and now they're kind of in no man's land because they're really forced to double Steph Curry off of this, essentially because he throws the pass so early to Trayce Jackson-Davis, and Rudy Gobert is standing flat-footed, so there's no way he's actually going to be able to get back to Trayce Jackson-Davis in time. Anthony Edwards realizes this immediately and runs over to essentially contest Trayce Jackson-Davis, hopefully meeting him outside the restricted area and maybe to get a charge. But as you see this play out right here, Trayce Jackson-Davis does a good job of going right up there and essentially finishing over Anthony Edwards, which was awesome. That's something that if the Warriors could add to their offense, could be huge. Finishing in the painted area right outside the restricted area has definitely been a problem for the Warriors. But if Trayce Jackson-Davis can alleviate that, it would really change the game for the Warriors, and I think could be great. So I think the key about that is just he's performing in the clutch now. He's utilizing Steph Curry's gravity and space to finally finish in the paint and do something other Warriors can't do. Right here, Steph Curry's being hounded, and Kuminga seems like he's wanting to stop him from getting hounded, so he's going to maybe try and set a screen on the Timberwolves player. But what you're going to see happen here is essentially Steph Curry does a good job of kind of getting him off of him, McDaniels off of him. And so he sets up, looks like he's about to shoot a three. This makes Randall kind of jump into Curry, and it makes two people immediately think that Curry is going to be shooting or doing something. I think Kuminga should use this opportunity actually to roll into the painted area because he had both of their attentions, but Kuminga maybe realizes a little bit too late and is able to kind of get the pass, but there's not as much of an advantage created because Rudy Gobert already realized, oh, hey, he's not like deep enough in the paint. I can contest this right here. But still, it does force the defense in rotation, which is really the power of Steph Curry. So right here, you see Kuminga goes up, and watch Trayce Jackson-Davis right here. Obviously, the guy we're highlighting, he comes all the way from around the three-point line, obviously knowing he's not going to space the floor. And he's like, okay, this might be an easy dunk, but I'm not going to be the one who just is lazy and doesn't do anything. I'm going to make sure that I get the rebound if there is one to be had. And this pays off right here as it goes just right directly to him. He jumps over Rudy Gobert and essentially is able to finish that shot, which is key. It was 90-90, and those 2 points are key to winning the game. And offensive rebounding is going to be key to the Warriors this season. Podziemski does a great job of it. If Trayce Jackson-Davis can also do a good job of it, I think it really frees up the Warriors to be a better offensive rebounding team. Now, one of the last clips we have for you today here is just this play by Trayce Jackson-Davis all the way out on the perimeter. And this is just awesome. I just love to see it. The confidence, 92-92, 5 minutes to go. There's Steph Curry out here. There's Jonathan Kuminga out here. There's Andrew Wiggins out here. But no, he knows he has an advantage going to the rim. There's no Rudy Gobert here. So what does he see? He knows he has a step because the defender overplayed him, and he's just going to go right to there and finish on Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert goes up to contest that. He's looking to block that shot, but TJD knows he can be aggressive. He's been unlocked from early in the game, finished some of those easy dunks, and even finished over Rudy Gobert, and knows that aggression is really what's going to make him the player that he needs to be. If you guys like this content and want to see more Trayce Jackson-Davis, please feel free to like and subscribe and comment below what you think about Trayce Jackson-Davis this season and what you think he can bring to the offense if he brings this game in and game out. Thank you guys for watching.